بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، أهلا بكم في حلقة جديدة من حلقات مادة اللغة الإنجليزية لطلاب قسم الاقتصاد وقسم إدارة الأعمال بكلية الاقتصاد والعلوم الإدارية. And in today's session, which is session 25, we will go through some of the exercises that I said we'll go through in this session. And they are, of course, we're still working on the simple present tense, and we wanted to spend, of course, a lot of time, on it, because it's very important that we know how to use it of course, when we speak the language. It's very important because it is used a lot. It's, of course, it's about the present, basically, present time. So let's start the first slide. And by the way, this is the slide that we have looked at last time. And we said, of course, that the ending here is pronounced is. So we say pushes, teaches, kisses, and fixes. And also we looked at this exercise before, right? And I asked you to, of course, use these words. طلبت منكم ايش؟ احنا تستخدموا الكلمات هذه اللي مكتوبة in italics. In italics يعني بشكل مائل، right? كما تلاحظون كل فعل يستخدم right هنا، okay, to complete the sentences. فلاحظ هنا he, okay, or Alice brushes her hair every morning. Teach with the verb teach, كل فعل teach. Alex teaches, okay, Alex teaches English. Jason fixes his breakfast in the morning. He makes eggs and toast. Drink, right? Sonia drinks, لاحظ drinks, tea every afternoon. And watches. يعني القصد هنا أردت فقط أن نقارن بين، لاحظت الفعل هذا drink ينتهي بك، and ك, as I said earlier, is voiceless وتنطق الاس okay في النهاية، كما ايش تكون الصفات الصوتية في الك sound. الك والس أيضا الحبال الصوتية في حال نطقها okay ما فيه اهتزاز، فلذلك في تشابه في يعني في تشابه في الحبال الصوتية في الصفات الصوتية. أما بالنسبة طبعا لو كان الفعل مثلا like something like live, okay, okay, like lives, right? I think one of the let me just like here, I think, where is it, like where, yeah, right? Where, right? Or yarn, like wears here. Ali usually wears شماغ to class. The r sound, the صوت r يعتبر voiced، ولذلك هنا رغم أنها تكتب S إلا أنها تنطق Z، فنقول علي usually wears شماغ، wears not wears not S، وإنما هي تكتب S ولكن تنطق Z. Okay, so let me go back a little bit to this the first part of the exercise. إذن لكن في حال إنه انتهى الفعل ب SH, right, أو CH أو X, right، نعم، أو CH like here، تكون الending ايش؟ is. فنقول brushes, teaches, fixes, drink and watches. All right. So that one, this one, Sonia drinks tea every afternoon, and with watch, June Key, okay, often watches television at night. All right, and this is the end of this is the rest of the exercise. As kiss. Peter always kisses his children good night. Wear, he usually wears shmag to class. And wash, Eric seldom washes dishes, and Ahmed walks 1 hour each day. And the last example, when Jack gets up in the morning, he stretches. لاحظ أيضا stretches يعني تمدد، وإيش and yawns ويتثاءب. Alright. إذا لاحظ هنا إيش ES هنا and هنا أيضا. Also another thing that we have to notice is that the use of the frequency adverbs، أيضا استخدام إيش الصيغ التكرار مثل always, usually, seldom, right? We use them with simple present tense, and they are of course optional. You don't have to use them, but sometimes we use them because we want to indicate the frequency. Okay, we want to indicate frequency, so we use always, usually, seldom, and rarely. Sometimes we use sometimes and or never. And that's the end of the exercise, of that exercise number 7, and we move to that exercise, which is again to put these words in the correct order. طبعا هنا انتهينا بالاكسرسايز هذا في الحلقة رقم 23، وقلت لكم مقدمة لنعرف كيف نكون أيضا أسئلة. فلو لاحظت الجمل هذه أو الجملة هذه مثلا هي سؤال طبعا، وهي غير مرتبة الكلمات، فعندك you, get up, do and what time. what time هي إيش كلمة السؤال، ونبدأ بها. فنقول what time and then يأتي إيش the helping verb do, and then the subject, and then the rest of the, and then the verb and what comes after it. What time do you get up? What time do you get up? Right? What time do you get up? Okay? And what time do you leave home? What time do you leave home? And how do you go to work? How do you go to work? لاحظ how, do, all right? And then you go to work. And then this one is what time do you get to work? What time, and then we have do, and then you get to work. They're not, of course, in the right order. Here we have them in the right order, and they are all questions. And number 5, what time do you finish work? What time do you finish work? What time do you finish work? And then what time do you get home? What time do you get home? All right. And لاحظ أيضا following intonation here, as I said, with these questions. So, what time do you get up? What time do you leave home? What time do you go to work? What time do you get to work? What time do you finish work? What time do you get home? All right, and we looked at this slide with some vocabulary. All right, excuse, okay, say, borrow, write, understand, repeat, spell, speak, mean. Okay, and these are the answers. Of course, we want to use one of these. Sometimes we have to use, or actually in this case, we used the word or the verb say twice. We use that one twice, 2 times. فهنا نستخدمه مرتين. That's why I have of course, the number here 2. So how do you spell colleague? Colleague, of course, is the word. The word. How do you spell it? Right? Sorry. Can you repeat the questions? And then excuse me. Can you say that again, please? Can you speak slowly, please? How do you say Austrada in English? Can you write the word on the board, please? Can you borrow your dictionary, please? What does the word leisure mean? Okay. And again, here, I think the rest of it, we did not take that in that session. And then what's the word for this in English? And by this, I mean that. Look at the arrow here. This, what do we call that in English? Can you guess? That's a hole punch, okay? Hole punch. It's a hole punch. And the last thing, of course, is I'm sorry, I don't understand. I don't understand. All right. Exercise 9. Now here we have to do an exercise, and it's a listening exercise. Listen to the sentences and circle the verbs you hear. In this exercise now, if you look at the verbs here, teach and teaches, you will listen to some sentences said by a native speaker. يعني أنا راح تستمع لشخص هو طبعا يعني متحدث أصلي للغة الإنجليزية ويقول هذه الكلمات. فأنت and they will say them in sentences. راح يقولونها في جمل. فأنت راح إيش تسوي circling على الإيش. Before I do that, of course, I will do that later on anyway. But I want you to do it first, right? And then and then of course then we'll do it together. فمثلا المرة الأولى راح أنت تستمع، والمرة الثانية أيضا نستمع مرة أخرى، ثم أيضا نكمل أو نأتي بالإجابات. Let's listen.
Exercise 13, page 62. Listen to the sentences and circle the verbs you hear. 1.
Mrs. Miller teaches English on Saturdays. Teaches.
2. Mr. and Mrs. Smith teach English in the evenings. 3.
Doug fixes cars.
4. His son fixes cars too. 5.
Carlos and Chris watch DVDs on weekends.
6. Their daughter watches videos.
7.
I brush my hair every morning.
8.
Jimmy seldom brushes his hair.
9.
The Johnsons wash their car every weekend.
10.
Susan rarely washes her car.
Okay, let's listen again and do it
Exercise
together.
13, page 62. Listen to the sentences and circle the verbs you hear. 1.
Mrs. Miller teaches English on Saturdays. Teaches.
2.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith teach English in the evenings.
3.
Doug fixes cars.
4.
His son fixes cars too.
5.
Carlos and Chris watch DVDs on weekends.
6.
Their daughter watches videos.
7.
I brush my hair every morning.
8.
Jimmy seldom brushes his hair.
9.
The Johnsons wash their car every weekend.
10.
Susan rarely washes her car.
Okay, now you got the answers. I'll read them. If just listen to them said by a native speaker, and now you listen to them said by me. Teaches, teach, fixes, fixes, watch, watches, brush, brushes, wash, washes. Okay? Okay, here's another exercise, and it says complete the sentences, use the words in the list, and add S or ES. Then practice reading the story aloud. طيب, let's look at this exercise here. لاحظ انه في هنا a paragraph. This is like a text, and it is about Ahmed. Okay. لاحظ هنا indentation, المسافة المتروكة. Right. And we start with a capital letter, as we said earlier, in one of the lessons, one of the sessions on writing. Right. Space, indentation. Then you start with the first, anyway, with of course the name, with names of people, names of cities and countries and rivers and all of these. Of course, we have to start with capital letter anyway. But if it's not, the first letter in each sentence, in any new sentence, has to be, of course, capital. So Ahmed, right? Now we said here that there's a list. So where is it? There you go. This is the list. And let me read the words for you. Brush. And repeat after me, please. Brush. Cook. Fall. Get. Leave. Read. Take. Turn. Sit. Wash. Watch. And لاحظ الأفعال هنا كلها طبعا verbs. هنا الفعل ينتهي بال SH، وهذا ينتهي بالك فقط، ينتهي بالله، هنا ينتهي بالت، هنا ينتهي بالذ. صح انه هنا في اخر شيء عندنا اي، لكن يهمنا الصوت فقط، لا يهم ليش السبيلينج. and in pronunciation في حال النطق احنا لا ننظر لل ايش للسبيلينج، وانما ننظر للصوت فقط. and here د. okay, read. this is ك. take. okay, فلا يهمنا ايش ما ياتي بعد الايش الفاينل sound. we said the final sound is ك, not E. This is the final letter, yes, in spelling. but not the final sound. The final sound is ك. يعني الصوت آخر صوت هو الك وليس الإي. الإي فقط مجرد إيش spelling. And turn, and then sit, sit. And here wash, okay, wash. And this one is watch. فكل فعل طبعا راح تبين لنا من خلال لما ننتهي منه وأقرأ لكم، راح تبين كيف ننطق كل فعل في مع نهاية كل كيف تبين نهايته كيف تنطق يعني مع الإضافة الاس أو الاي اس. احنا قلنا نضيف اس ولكن قد تنطق اس، قد تنطق س أو ز. اوكي، وهنا طبعا تنطق is وليس اس. فما نقول مثلا washes ولا watches ولا نقول brushes، no. وإنما نقول brushes, washes and watches. okay. لكن لاحظ أيضا هنا في عندنا الفعل هنا ينتهي بالك. ك is this sound is voiceless, this sound is voiced. فلما طبعا هنا نقول الفعل فيصبح cooks. وهنا falls. أنت لو حاولت تنطق بالفاينل s here ننطقه س false يعني ممكن، لكنه it's not يعني doesn't sound good, doesn't sound correct. You say he falls, no, he falls, because there is another word in English that's false, which means incorrect. Now get, ت is also voiceless. فنقول gets وليس gets. لو حتى حاولت أن تنطق الت أو الأس الذي يأتي بعدها في النهاية يعني أو تنطقه ز فليس من الصعب. فأنت الآن حاول أن تقول مثلا حاول أن تقول مثلا get and then say مثلا gets. Can you do that? Can you say gets? You can't say t and then followed by z. Gets. That's kind of very difficult. Similarly, you cannot say takes. No, and you cannot say something like sits, not sits. Okay, you can't say sits, but of course it has to be sa. So gets, takes, and sits, because the final sounds in these verbs, right, are voiceless. We say they are voiceless. Get is voiceless, k is voiceless, and t is also voiceless. So the final sound, right, when it is voiceless, the form of the verb when it is in the simple present tense, okay, in the case of the subject, when the subject is as he, she, or it, becomes or is pronounced s, right, وليس z. Whereas لكن في حال مثلا الفعل لما يكون fall, right, when you say fall, right, you say he falls, right, or he leaves with this one, with the verb leave, and نقول he leaves. With the verb read, نقول he reads, right, ونقول he reads. Even if you try, as I said, حتى لو حاولت لن تستطيع يعني وليس بالسهولة يعني. It doesn't sound يعني correct. It sounds kind of funny and difficult even. Because when we speak, we normally use the simple way. Turn, we don't say turns, بينما نقول turns, okay, turns, he turns right, all right. Okay, so let's go through the verbs there. All right, Ahmed, right, his office every night at 5. All right. Can you guess what the verb here from these? Is it brush, cook, fall, get, leave, read, take, turn, sit, wash, or watch? Well, it is leaves. لاحظ. Ahmed leaves. لاحظ أيضا إنه إيش؟ إحنا قلنا the final sound is the, right? The. ولا يهم إيش? This e here, that's just spelling. And look at this. Leaves, right? Ahmed leaves. Right. It's not leaves because that E anyway is there. That E, right, is there. So don't get kind of confused with that ES, because that E, right, is part of of course, the original verb itself. So we say leaves. We just add S here and we pronounce it Z. So Ahmed leaves his office every night at 5, and right, what do you do when you, of course, take a bus? Well, take a bus, of course. Takes on a bus to go home. Takes. لاحظ كيف نطقتها ايش؟ Takes وليس takes. Right. لاحظ أيضا هنا the final sound is ك. Right. ولا يهم ايش الإي هنا لأنه that's just part of the spelling of the word or the verb take. Takes. Takes on a bus to get home. He has a regular schedule every evening. All right. All right. That also is, by the way, one of the verbs, but of course they didn't want to that because it's an irregular one. And next sentence. He dinner. All right. What do you do? I mean, do you brush dinner? Do you fall dinner or leave dinner or read dinner? Of course you cook dinner. So he cooks dinner. He cooks dinner and then, right, what comes before the word down? To eat at 6. Of course, and sits, and then sits down to eat at 6. So he cooks dinner and then sits down to eat at 6. لاحظ هنا sit, t is voiceless, so I say sits. After the dishes, what do you do with the dishes? Do you brush them? Do you cook them? Do you read them? No, of course you wash them, right? You wash them, and after he washes, لاحظ أيضا الأساس الفعل W-A-S-H, and then you have the E-S at the end because the verb ends with S-S-H. So we say washes. He washes the dishes. And also here, by the way, this is a noun, dishes, because this noun here ends with the sound sh, S-H, right? It's with sh. The plural form is dishes. Unlike, for example, if the noun is, for example, something like book, we say books. If it is bag, the plural would be bags, right? Again, book, الك تعتبر يعني في حال الأسماء لو عندنا اسم مثلا book الجمع منه books, one book, two books, right? One bag, two bags. لاحظ ج is voiced, سنقول تنطق الاس تنطق ايش ز، فنقول bags, okay, bags, and one book, two books. فأيضا حتى في الحالة أيضا الأسماء كذلك، الحالة هذه حالة النطق، التحول من الز أو نطق الس ز، right؟ أيضا تنطبق على الأسماء كذلك اللي بتشابه أيضا الصفات الصوتية كما قلت سابقا. he washes, after he washes the dishes, he turns on the TV. He usually what? He usually watches the news and then what? And then a movie. At 9 he takes a shower. Right? Next sentence, he always his teeth after his shower. Now what do you do with your teeth? Of course, brush. You brush them. Right? He always brushes his teeth after his shower. Then he picks up a book, and what do you do with books? Right? Do you brush them? Do you sit on them, or what? Wash them, or what? Just watch them? Of course you read. And so then he picks up a book and reads in bed for a while. He usually falls asleep. Falls asleep before 10. So very quickly, let me just read it. Ahmed leaves his office every night at 5 and takes on a bus to go home. He has a regular schedule every evening. He cooks dinner and then sits down to eat at 6. After he washes the dishes, he turns on the TV. He usually watches the news and then a movie. At 9, he takes a shower. He always brushes his teeth after his shower. Then he picks up a book and reads in bed for a while. He usually falls asleep before 10. Okay? And with this, we come to the end of session number 25. I hope you found this session informative. Thank you for listening. Have a good day. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.